Okay, so I think we are ready to hop into, well, one of these big missions. As I was saying last time round, I think probably, in fact, priority Perseus Vale right here. So that is, of course, the one where we are expecting to meet back up with the Quarians, who we really haven't seen or heard much from at all in Mass Effect 3. So we know that there's one thing we missed here, but we do plan on checking back over there soon. They're over here at the far rim. So last time we were engaging with the Quarians was probably Mass Effect 2, back during, well, Tali's loyalty mission in which she had her trial. So, as a reminder, Mass Effect 2 spoilers, of course, for those of you who are not following through with us there, but need to make ourselves beautiful. This is true. We gotta be prepared. But Tali's loyalty mission, probably the last time that we saw Tali, or, well, I mean, I suppose we saw Tali at the end of Mass Effect 3, or Mass Effect 2, but as for the Quarians at large, where we visited the migrant fleet, which was quite an experience because it had been such a mysterious place, mysterious group of people that we'd heard references to time and time again, but there was all this, well, no one really knows where they are because they keep their location on the down low. And so it was very unusual for us to get the chance to actually go there and, well, basically be Tali's lawyer for her. Of course, things went fairly well there. We may or may not have brought a functioning Geth onto the migrant fleet, but you know, details. That doesn't matter. Okay, so we have the Quarian envoy ship is right here, and, well, it looks like, is this? No, the circle is green, so yeah, there are definitely additional systems here. So I think we probably start by scanning the general area, see if we can find anything, possibly even explore this neighboring system, and then go to the Quarian envoy ship, because if we do get Reaper attention, which won't happen here because there's a mission in this system, so the Reapers won't flood this area, but they might flood the next area over. If that does happen, then once we finish this Quarian envoy ship mission, then those Reapers should go away. So let's, I suppose we'll start with some scanning. I think we found, generally speaking, I'm just going to target the planets here to the extent possible. I think we found, generally speaking, that in systems that have major quests, like the main quest, as we see here, we've seen little to nothing scanning-wise, so I'm not really expecting to run into anything here. It doesn't seem like there's anything on the planets. There's, I suppose, a non-zero chance that we run into something... Oh, did I hear something there? Non-zero chance that there is something floating around here outside of a planet that we might be able to scan, but I'm kind of doubtful of that, so we won't do a super thorough check. Just do a quick flyby of the system to be scanned, the ship itself. That'd be kind of weird if the Quarian envoy ship was the thing we could scan, but okay. Let's, yeah, sure, we'll read about these planets here. Oh, that one should ring a bell. And then we'll head over to the neighboring system, scan those, see if the Reapers want to attack us, and hopefully not. But if they do, then we'll head back over here and actually do this quest. Gotta love the Volus with the sunglasses. It is amazing. Okay, so Haestrom. In case this name does not sound familiar, this is in fact the planet where we first, or technically not even first met Tali in Mass Effect 2. We saw it at the very beginning in the prologue, but it is the place where we recruited Tali in Mass Effect 2, the place where it was neighboring a system in which the star was aging too quickly, and so there were theories of now I'm blanking out on the proper scientific terminology. Dark matter? Was it dark matter technically? Or was it... Now I'm like, dark energy? Is that an actual science thing? Or is that just... like fantasy talk? I should know this, right? Alright, no worries, Seawolf. Thanks for stopping by. Formerly a Quarian colony, Haestrom was established to observe the phenomenon Dolan, the system's parent star. Dolan appeared to be unstable, with a high possibility of erupting prematurely into a red giant. So yeah, that was the thing that Tali was researching, and We also met, who was it? Cal Rieger, who was stationed there with a troop of Quarians to help protect the scientist team, which was significant because at the time, the Geth were actively patrolling the area and destroying any Quarian ship that came anywhere near the system, and so it was an achievement for them to even be able to land on Haestrom, let alone actually stay there, conduct some research, and, with some of our help, safely extract. At least Cal Rieger and Tali. As for everyone else on that Quarian team, maybe not so lucky. Haestrom was lost to the Geth in 1896 CE. Soon after, all communication with the planet and its attendant space station ceased. The Geth have shown no signs of treating Dolan as a threat over the past 3 centuries, beyond establishing several space stations near it. Dolan's magnetic eruptions and solar output overwhelm most nearby communications, and it is unclear how the Geth have compensated. Today, spy probe scans indicate extensive orbital construction around Haestrom, housing thousands of Geth platforms and an unknown number of Geth software mines. It is not known how many Geth are on the planet's surface. Spy probes face interference from Dolan, making remote scanning difficult. Resource estimations based on Geth mining, refining, and fabricating practices suggest the planet has at least 20 more years of use before it is exhausted. Intelligence experts speculate that the Geth have not exploited all of their resources because they wish to keep in some reserved for repairs. Travel advisory: Haestrom is a Geth stronghold. Military spy drones using cutting-edge stealth technology are the only vehicles that have returned from Geth space unharmed. All civilian traffic is prohibited. Yeah, dark energy. Okay, so I'm not going crazy here. And it is, as I think we alluded to in our Mass Effect 2 playthrough, technically speaking, something that may have originally played a more significant role in the overarching Mass Effect trilogy plot, but then got revised, theoretically, if you believe the fan theories, and there may have actually been some confirmation from the developers on this, but may have been changed relatively last minute for Mass Effect 3 and made into a much smaller, if not borderline completely insignificant, little anecdote, as we see here in Mass Effect 3 now. Also take note, this whole thing about military spy drones using cutting-edge stealth technology are the only things that have been able to return from Geth space unharmed. Everything else in Geth that has entered Geth space has been either damaged or outright destroyed. Remember that. That is going to be an interesting thing to have in the back of our mind in the near future. Okay. Other than that, it's a little bit hot, but it is... Oh, and also has no atmospheric pressure. Okay, that's also an issue. I was going to say, maybe a livable place, but that does certainly complicate matters. So yes, a place where we spent a fair bit of time in Mass Effect 2, although we cannot land on it now in Mass Effect 3. Then we have Sharon. Actually, according to our theory we had before about scanning planets that we had missions on in Mass Effect 1 or Mass Effect 2, and that seemed to always result in giving us resources from those scans, maybe it debunks that theory, although for the most part, we were finding that for planets that had missions in Mass Effect 1, less so Mass Effect 2. Also, I was going to say, that was primarily for planets that had side quests, not main quests, but no, it was still the case for, I think, both Pharos and Noveria. Actually, Noveria had a full-blown mission in Mass Effect 3, but anyways, that's all on the side. We have Sharon. Once a starship refueling station for the Quarians, Sharon has expanded under Geth rule. Thousands of orbital platforms surround the planet and its many moons, refining helium into helium-3. A vast Geth fleet travels between Sharon and Haestrom, preventing all but the most stealthy of spy drones from discovering any information about it. Current estimates place Geth fleet numbers between 5,000 and 10,000 ships with unknown levels of armament. Travel advisory: most intelligence estimates state that approaching Sharon is tantamount to suicide. Don't do it. All civilian traffic is prohibited. Again, remember this. Anyone going anywhere near these major Geth strongholds is getting completely annihilated. Population estimated to be somewhere on the order of 250 to 500,000 Geth platforms. That's a pretty big number there. Largest station, Hell's Hive as well. Okay. Then we have the envoy ship, as we were talking about before. I think we will finish on that. In fact, we might even go to the neighboring system first and check that out. Just going to do a quick loop around this asteroid belt, see if I hear anything, but I'm not hearing anything. So there's just Gotha, the innermost planet, a dwarf planet. Gotha has a pressure cooker atmosphere that brings its surface temperature to scorching levels. Carbon dioxide and ethane are plentiful in the planet's hazy atmosphere. There has been some speculation in the mining community as to whether the Quarians mined all the precious metals before they fled the system some 3 centuries ago. Rumors abound that anyone willing to brave the Geth could find loads of naturally occurring diamonds on Gotha, but this is likely just a starship legend. Travel advisory: similar to the other planets in this area, Gotha is in Geth space. All civilian traffic is prohibited. Again, presumably because anyone that goes anywhere near this place is going to get absolutely eviscerated by all the Geth. 99.64 Earth atmospheric pressures. Is that the highest we've ever seen? I mean, that is like ridiculous. That is like, you step foot, I mean, you're not even stepping foot in that place. That's like, you spend a split second there and your body's just gonna get crumpled to pieces. Okay. So interesting. And yes, we will, of course, end up going to this Quarian envoy ship soon. But before we do so, let us first see what the deal is at Mott. We're not technically at full fuel, but I think we'll be fine here. We have, I mean, almost full. And as I think we said a little while ago, this is, of course, in the sort of top right corner of the Milky Way galaxy, which is the Perseus Veil, which is the place where the Geth currently have pretty much a very firm foothold on that part of the galaxy. It's very hard to communicate either in or out of that area because there's like this kind of fog effect type thing. I mean, not so much. I mean, there's a wholly different thing that happens around Dolan, as we were just reading there, which also makes communications hard, but for all those reasons, it's hard for people to know exactly how many Geth are here, what is generally happening in this area, and because the Quarians, who at one point in time had Renok, which was their homeworld, in this general area, although I don't think in this system, because we haven't seen it, or this cluster, because we haven't seen it. Obviously, they've, for the most part, been driven out, except as of right now, the migrant fleet, at least, is currently stationed right in the middle of Geth space. That is bold, or at least this is, I suppose, an envoy ship, not necessarily the migrant fleet as a whole. So we have Amut. Amut is an enormous hydrogen-helium gas giant with a mass approximately 9 times that of Jupiter and nearly 2,900 times that of Earth. Despite massive pressure, its core has failed to ignite in a fusion reaction, qualifying it as a failed star. It is believed to have captured all other planet-sized bodies in the solar system as moons or in impact events, leading to its name, Devourer. That's pretty intense. Not intimidated by this phenomena, the Geth have colonized many of Amut's moons and skimmed the hydrogen from Amut's upper atmosphere. Travel advisory: Amut is in Geth space. All civilian traffic is prohibited. Do not go here. The Geth will shoot you down. No other planets, though. Interestingly here. So once again, a whole lot of space outside of the planet that might have stuff for us to scan. But I think we at least start by scanning the planet. And yes, because there is not an active mission in this system, the Reapers can invade, and I don't know, that first scan is like right around filling the meter halfway, so I don't know if one more scan would be sufficient to get their attention, or if we could maybe sneak in one more safely, but with nothing popping up on this planet, that leads me to believe there's got to be something else over here. Something. Somewhere. So let's keep our eyes and ears peeled. We're listening for a sound effect that will tell us that we've run into something that is scannable. And when we do, we're going to have to make a run for it, because we might be about to get rushed down by Reapers. Tell you what, let's deliberately look around this area that is closest to where the Reapers are going to come in from, because we would love to rule out anything's right here, right on top of the Reapers. That'd be ideal. Then we can have more of a lead on them once we start running. I mean, we could technically go out this way and we'd still be fine, but you know what I mean. At least it'd be nice not to have the Reapers right on top of us when they spawn in. Yeah, anything that's like right next to where the Reapers are going to come in. Do a little circle around the planet. Or semicircle. Increase the circumference as we go. Is technically called circumference for a semicircle? Is that a thing? Is it no longer circumference? Is it now perimeter? I don't know, man. Alright, admittedly, though, it is harder to tell where we have and have not exactly explored when we're doing that wonky stuff, so we'll just do more usual exploration strategy here. Really not hearing anything, though. I think this top left corner is the only place we haven't done. Yeah. I didn't hear anything. I don't know. So I think we just scan and run to see what we end up with here and then make our move. No luck. Reapers did not fully raid the system. Okay, I mean, we'll try another one here. No luck. They're definitely coming in now. For some reason, I was very startled by the sound effect. But, yeah, I don't know what the deal is there. Hard to tell. I mean, maybe there is nothing there, but seems odd if Reapers can invade, but there's nothing to scan there. I'm not sure if we've ever seen that elsewhere. So that leads me to believe that we probably just, for whatever reason, didn't catch whatever it is. But anyways, let's actually head into the Quarian envoy ship now to speak with the Quarians. As a reminder, the specifics for this mission. This is the main quest mission, if I could find it. Priority Perseus fail. The Quarian fleet offers both technical specialists and support ships to assist with the Crucible. Meet the Quarian admirals and obtain their help in the war effort. So, thus far, the war effort, at least initially, was basically... It started with the Alliance, so humans. Then we tried to recruit the Turians. The Turians said, okay, we'll help you, but only if you can get the Krogan to help us. So we fought the Reapers off, fended them off, the Turian moon, Manet. Then we went to Tuchanka. We, well, deployed the Genophage Cure. So now we have both the Turians and the Krogan on our side. Then, after finishing the Citadel coup and preventing Cerberus from taking over the Citadel, we got some support from the Asari and a tiny little bit from the Solarians, although they were quite stingy with their support. Those, thus far, have been the primary species to offer assistance to us. But the Quarians, perhaps the next biggest players in the galaxy, and they have not yet offered any support until after finishing that Citadel coup mission. We heard from, I believe it was Hackett, saying that the Quarians have offered some assistance, although there are some indications that they're trying to make some sort of moves against the Geth here, perhaps considering full-fledged war against the Geth. And let's just say this is not the best time to be picking these petty fights to be having. I mean, sure, the Geth did take their homeworld, yes, but perhaps you can wait to fight over all that stuff until after the whole overarching humongous Reaper threat is quelled. Because that kind of seems like that's the primary concern we should have right now. But anyways, that's where we stand. And because the Quarians technically do have the largest fleet in the galaxy, it would be quite helpful to have their assistance. So let's go see what this is all about. Here's a Quarian envoy ship. This diplomatic frigate is like no Quarian ship on record. Its hull is relatively low temperature and appears to be venting heat in a manner similar to that of the Normandy when it comes out of stealth mode. Oh! So perhaps the Normandy, which had state-of-the-art experimental stealth technology, the only ship in the entire galaxy we thought that had that kind of capability, perhaps the Quarians, of their own accord, have found a way to develop that kind of technology. So how the Quarians developed this high-tech vessel is unknown, but its hailing frequencies are open and welcoming messages are being tight-beamed to Normandy. So that perhaps explains how the heck the Quarians managed to get a ship in here right in the middle of Geth space, which, as we've heard, every planet that we visited has always said, travel advisory, do not go anywhere near this place, otherwise you're going to get destroyed. Well, that explains how they got here safely. So let's dock.
Commander Shepard, a pleasure to see you again, though I wish it were under better circumstances.
I'd hoped for your support in the fight against the Reapers. What's going on?
17 days ago, with precision strikes on 4 Geth systems, the Quarians initiated the war to retake our homeworld.
Which was a clear violation of our
yes.
agreement with the Council to avoid provoking the Geth.
A treaty violation is nothing compared to recovering our homeworld and advanced AI technology.
So these are the Quarian admirals, all of whom we met during Tali's loyalty mission in Mass Effect 2. I feel like Zen has a new voice actress? She sounds different, I think. But, so, as we learned during Tali's loyalty mission, although there were some concerns about accusations of Tali and potentially her supporting the Geth, which were, of course, false, the real thing that was happening there was it was all just sort of a way to gift wrap this discussion, this debate that the head of the Quarian government was having, namely these 3 admirals here, regarding whether they should or should not go to war with the Geth. And back in Mass Effect 2, yes, we were of course still warning people about imminent Reaper attacks, but the Reapers had not yet arrived, so perhaps it was a little more justifiable for them to be concerning themselves first and foremost with the war against the Geth and trying to retake their homeworld of Rannoch. But now that, as we were just saying, the Reapers are here, and as we just heard from them, apparently they had an agreement with the Council, hey, whatever you do, you are not allowed to provoke a fight with the Geth. Do not do that. And yet here they are saying, well, but see, it's okay if we break that rule, because that's breaking a rule is way less of a big deal than retaking our homeworld. If we retake our homeworld, it's totally worth it, because remember, of course, the Quarians do not currently have a home, or at least do not have a planet that they can call home. They are currently living full-time on a humongous, basically, armada of spaceships that is constantly migrating throughout the galaxy, hence migrant fleet, so that they can collect resources, because they can't really linger anywhere too long, otherwise they're going to exhaust those resources, and, well, they're just trying to find a way to get back to their place, their home, Rannoch. So, yeah, alright, humor us. Tell us a little bit more about how this all came to be.
Your homeworld? You mean Rannoch?
Correct, Commander. 300 years ago, we lost our world to our own AI creations, the Geth.
After we attempted to kill them,
We didn't try to kill them, Chorus. We tried to deactivate them. It wasn't murder.
And of course, the Quarians created the Geth, which was technically illegal because the Geth were an AI, and AI are self-aware, and so that raises a whole bunch of potential issues, like, hey, if enough of them come into existence and they're self-aware and start asking too many questions, like, does that start to put us in a tough place where suddenly we might need to negotiate with these AI and treat them more like a full-blown species, rather than just the computers that we might take VIs to be? And again, the difference between VIs and AIs, which was a big theme in Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2 as well, I suppose. VIs being complex computer programs, but not self-aware, whereas AIs, complex computer programs that are self-aware. So, yeah. You say that it wasn't murder, but as we were just saying ourselves, once we're talking about self-aware programs, it does start to enter that gray area a bit.
No, it was murder.
Commander, The Quarians never intended to create a true AI. It was an accident.
Which you chose to correct by trying to kill them.
Well, shucks, he's got us here.
Admitting we were wrong would undercut the justification for this suicidal invasion plan.
So, yes. Then the other thing is that the Quarians were very conflicted as to whether it was worth them trying to fight the Geth, because the Geth, for the most part, I think it's believed that the Geth have more firepower than the Quarians. I mean, we've said the Quarians are the largest fleet in the galaxy. I suppose perhaps that is outside of, well, probably the Reapers. We don't really know how big the Reaper force is, but presumably it's huge. Or at the very least, what units they do have are incredibly powerful. So, one Reaper, what do they call it? Is Flagship the name we've been assigning to the biggest of the Reaper ships, perhaps? But, those types of ships are, equivalent to who knows how many dreadnoughts. So, Reapers, realistically, perhaps the most powerful, if not potentially also the largest fleet. Then the Geth, big question mark, not really known for certain, but at least because they're capable of self-replicating at a rapid pace, and they have billions of software minds, if you will, that can be uploaded onto the physical platforms that are capable of, well, holding a weapon and shooting at people and causing harm and going to war, then their ability to rapidly upscale their military capabilities is probably considerable. So invading does seem like it was a mistake, especially given the timing of this all when the Reapers are currently attacking the galaxy.
You're throwing yourselves at the Geth? Again?
And this time, we may have destroyed our people for good.
We'd driven the Geth back to the home system when this signal began broadcasting to all Geth ships.
The Reapers.
Under Reaper control, the Geth are significantly more effective. Our fleet is pinned in the home system. If we're going to win,
Win? You insisted on involving the civilian ships, Admiral Gerrel. We need to retreat or we'll lose the live ships.
Where's the signal coming from?
Here, a Geth dreadnought. It can outgun anything we've got, and it's heavily defended.
The Normandy stealth drive can get us in undetected. I could board, then disable the Reaper command signal.
Yes, cutting off the signal should throw the Geth into complete disarray.
Sounds like that may be our strategy, then.
And while they're confused, you get to a mass relay and retreat.
Good. Our civilian ships have seen too much fighting already. Are you certain you can disable the signal?
No, but we
Get
can
you
try.
out of there safely, Admiral.
Our newest Admiral has also volunteered to offer technical expertise.
Shepard.
Is that so now?
Tali. Admirals, I'll ready a team to hit that dreadnought.
Thank you, Commander.
Admiral?
It's mostly a formality. I'm an expert on the Geth.
This is true.
That you are.
I'm glad you're here.
So, of course, Tali was one of our squad mates that dates all the way back to Mass Effect 1 when she had some info from the Shadow Broker regarding Saren, one of the key antagonists of Mass Effect 1, then also a squad mate in Mass Effect 2, so she is in select company there. What, it's her, Garrus, and Liara as well, if you want to count Lair the Shadow Broker in Mass Effect 2, but potentially you could make the case just her and Garrus. Then, of course, we had Ashley in Mass Effect 1, but she wasn't a squad mate in Mass Effect 2, so yeah, select company there. So, and while we were gone, she has been promoted to the single highest position, or at least tied for the single highest position, in the Quarian government, an admiral, which was the position that her father previously held, but, of course, her father died, as we learned in Mass Effect 2, and that is, in large part, what was the impetus behind, or at least what started the trial that we were helping her with in Mass Effect 2. So it seems like she's maybe replaced her father then?
Why didn't you tell me? I would have helped.
Thanks, but I knew you had your own problems. I'm sorry about Earth. We've got the largest fleet in the galaxy. If you can help us, we'll hit the Reapers with everything we've got. Or however much is left from this stupid war.
I thought you'd support the invasion.
No. After talking to Legion, I thought maybe there was a chance for peace.
So why help them?
I'm an admiral. People look to me for guidance. Public disagreement would divide the fleet.
And it does seem like there is a lot of that, though. Also, you know, Tali may have been someone that we pursued a bit of a relationship with in Mass Effect 2, so now that we've gotten all the important business stuff taken care of, just wondering. You still interested?
And what about us? Would us being together divide the fleet?
No. Well, possibly. I don't know. But right now, I've got civilian ships taking fire. Can we keep this quiet, at least in front of the admirals?
Sure thing, Miss Vas Normandy.
Thank you. If you want to talk in private, maybe you could invite me up to your cabin?
Oh.
Maybe I could.
And for the record, still totally worth it.
Oh, Tali. Alright, well, that is that mission right there. It's a quick one. It is basically all just set up. And if we are to exit out here, well, I mean, we could try exploring that other system, that Ma'at, that we were looking at previously, that we just could not find anything on. Sure. Well, how much fuel do we have? We had, what, 800-ish something to get there? Technically, if we run out of fuel on our way back, we'll get auto-teleported back to Dolan, so yeah, sure, we'll give it a try, just because I vaguely remember where we did and did not scan, which does help a bit. Oh, no, the Reapers are still here.
Reapers eluded.
Never mind. That mission didn't count for resetting the Reaper interest? Odd. Wow. I guess technically, since we didn't really land on a planet, maybe that's why? Huh. Wouldn't have thought that would be the case, but apparently so. As I was saying, we might run out of fuel here, but if we do, we're going to get teleported back anyway. Yeah, we'll save a little bit of fuel. So, let us actually exit here, because some things have changed after finishing that little conversation.
Commander?
Nothing new with Trainer, but if we are to check our email as well, nothing there. I am kind of curious to see if there is anything else that people are chatting about. But there is, of course, most importantly, that whole thing where we can perhaps invite Tali up to the commander's cabin.
Are you and Ashley okay? The last time she saw that body, it wasn't exactly pleasant.
Oh,
I have informed her of the situation. She is taking it well.
right.
Good.
Yeah, that would be pretty traumatic, right? You get your head smashed into the wall and come within an inch of death, get hospitalized for an extended period of time, and then finally, once you heal, you come back onto your previous ship, only to find that the very thing that smashed your head into the wall and nearly killed you is now supposedly one of your fellow squad mates, and you're supposed to just be totally fine with that? I mean, that would be super, super triggering, super stressful, right? Like, oh yeah, you know, this is the thing that nearly killed me. I'm just supposed to accept that it was a robot that has been deactivated and now is... Oh, nothing new there. Now is possessed by a friendly AI instead. I'm actually going to go back over here, the war room, real quick. Because in the war room, we can chat with several of the people that we were just talking to before, including Admiral Ron, which is, of course, one of the 3 admirals that we saw previously, now 4 that we're adding Tali to that list, but Admiral Ron was the one that was most supportive of Tali in Mass Effect 2, apparently an old friend of her and her father and her family in general.
Shepard, the fleet is under heavy fire. We need to hit the dreadnought.
Okay. So let's learn a little bit more about, I guess, you first and foremost. Oh no, actually that's Admiral Zen. That's a different admiral. Hold on, I take it back. So, what exactly is the deal with the various components of your fleet?
I'd like to know about your patrol fleet.
In peacetime, the patrol fleet managed navigation, internal security, and intership conflicts or crimes. Now, we mostly guard the heavy fleet's flank. It's mostly light frigates or fighters.
Okay. Large quantity of relatively small ships? You're talking about the heavy fleet, which I assume is the big artillery.
What can you tell me about Admiral Geralt's heavy fleet?
It was our main military force before the war, comprised of all Quarian vessels suited for sustained combat. It can't compare to the Turian forces, of course, but we have a number of heavy frigates and advanced fighter forces.
Interesting, yeah, because we've heard that the Quarians have the largest fleet, but here we see Admiral Ron saying, well, it doesn't really compare to the Turian fleet, which is generally the group, the species, and the fleet that people refer to as the most potent military force in the galaxy. But maybe that's just because the Quarians have generally been wandering around the galaxy and haven't necessarily been directing their full military might against any one target other than, at times, the Geth.
Tali said you had the largest fleet in the galaxy.
The Turians have more dreadnoughts. Their overall military force is larger than our heavy fleet by far. But
Okay.
before we began this war, we jury-rigged every Quarian ship in the flotilla for battle. Even our live ships have cannons.
Oh. That's, well, it's a little crazy. Your civilian ships are armed.
You've converted them into dreadnoughts. That's a violation of the Treaty of Ferrixon.
Oh, that too, apparently.
While live ships have firepower comparable to a dreadnought, their primary purpose is food cultivation.
You think the Council will buy that technicality?
If need be, I'll apologize once this war is over.
And in the meantime, you're putting your civilians in danger.
That's true, though.
Not casually, Commander. We keep them off the front lines, but we'll do whatever we must to win.
I mean, she has a point, right? Times like these, you gotta do whatever it takes. So, was that the civilian fleet, though? I thought that was us asking about the heavy fleet.
Tell me about the civilian fleet.
Our civilian ships, medical vessels, and live ships. Admiral Chorus coordinates them, though individual ships' captains still have power. In peacetime, they made up the bulk of our fleet. Now, our strength would even give the Turians pause.
So it's interesting to see how it appears as though, at least based on how Admiral Ron is framing this, that each of the admirals has one aspect of the Quarian fleet that they are in charge of. Like, so Geralt is in charge of the heavy fleet, and so that's sort of the primary military force, and that makes sense, because it seems like in all the discussions that we had dating back into Mass Effect 2, he was always the one that was seemingly the most experienced soldier, and always aim at things from a more military practicality or standpoint, whereas I think it was Admiral Geralt is the one who's always sort of taken more of the general civilian perspective, and if he's the one who's in charge of the civilian portion of the migrant fleet, then that makes a lot of sense. It's not a coincidence. Okay, so that's the fleet, but what about the other admiral, the one that we've not mentioned in this discussion at all, Admiral Zen?
Which fleet does Admiral Zen command?
Special projects. It's not a fleet
Oh.
per se, just a few research vessels.
Why the air
Technical
quotes?
breakthroughs have put us within striking distance of the homeworld.
So she's the tech specialist of all the tech specialists, because that is kind of the Quarian specialty to begin with. So, okay. What about you,
I'll
though?
let you get back to work.
Thank you, Commander.
Probably the first one we were asking about, right? Okay, well, that's Ron. If there's anyone else around here we can chat with, like, say, Tali. definitely will want to talk with her, but, are there any other of the Quarian admirals that have been hanging around here, or is it just them? I think it might just be those two. So, okay. We'll chat with Tali then. How goes it?
That dreadnought is tearing through our fleet. Let me know when you're ready to hit it.
Okay. For what it's worth, despite the sense of urgency that both Tali and Admiral Ron are trying to instill in us, getting us to think, oh, we gotta go after the dreadnought right now, right now. Technically speaking, I do not believe there's actually a timer for it, so, I suppose minor spoiler, sorry, but, no need to rush for that mission if you feel like you need to do other things to prepare for it. So, of course, we know a lot about Tali, back from Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2, but why don't we start with Tali's history?
So how did you end up back with your fleet, Tali?
When the war started, the Admiralty Board asked for my help. I had more recent contact with the Geth than most of my people. They hadn't filled the spot on the board left by my father. I was invited in. It's just a technicality. I'm far too young to be a real admiral.
Okay, I mean, you say
Don't sell
that.
yourself short, Tali. The board needed your expertise. You needed the authority that comes with rank.
See? Don't sell yourself short. It's legit. It's legit. Okay. Well, what have things been like now that you're back with the Quarians?
How is it being back with the fleet?
Right now, it's exhausting. I'm an admiral in the middle of a war. I just want us to get out of this alive. Everything else can wait.
I mean, sounds like you're pretty busy right now. Are you able to team back up with the squad on the Normandy?
When this is over, I could use your help.
I can't, Shepard. If we survive this, we'll have a homeworld. My people need me.
You could help your people's homeworld by fighting the Reapers.
I don't know. Maybe if I had the right incentive? No, that's not... My people need me here.
Okay, I mean, that's understandable, I suppose. So, then, I mean, you've, of course, been fighting with us in our efforts against the Geth and Reapers to a lesser extent in Mass Effect 1. Certainly the Collectors in Mass Effect 2. But you've never really been a frontline soldier, so to speak. So I don't know if this is sort of Tali's war history or more about the Quarians and their history against the Geth in general.
How did the war with the Geth get started anyway?
Admiral Zen developed a scanning countermeasure that interferes with Geth active scans. It's like a flashbang grenade. It effectively crippled the Geth ships in combat. My fleet couldn't pass up the chance to attack.
Okay, I mean, it sounds like a pretty practical thing.
Could we use it to fight the Reapers?
It only works against the Geth, unfortunately. Their AI lets them use extremely detailed LADAR pings. Zen's countermeasure overwhelmed them with garbage data. And it's useless now that the Reapers have upgraded their processing power.
Ah, okay. And that also explains why it only works, or had only worked against the Geth, but would not work against the Reapers. Okay. What about Legion? Of course, you actually mentioned Legion briefly in passing, as we were talking before.
So what about Legion?
It returned to Geth space after you turned yourself into the Alliance.
And you haven't seen it since?
Legion and I sent a few messages. I was hoping we could try negotiation. But I was outvoted 3-2. Admiral Chorus was the only one who believed it would work.
Okay. Admiral Chorus, really? Isn't that the guy we were saying he's the one who's in charge of the heavy fleet? That seems a little odd that the one that is the most military-centric is the one who thinks that peace is the most, or is the one most in favor of peace, when it seemed like, wasn't it? Oh no, I'm getting Chorus and Geralt mixed up. Yeah, yeah, it's Geralt is the one who's the heavy fleet, right? And Chorus is the one who's the civilian fleet, and Chorus is the one who is, rather, Geralt's the one who is friends with Tali's father. They went back in the military, and it was Chorus. Is it Chorus Vos Quibquib? He's Quibquib? Yeah. It's a long story. Don't ask, Shepard. He's the one who, yes, was more pro-human, pro-peace between Quarians and Geth, which was something that was very much a minority opinion in Mass Effect 2, it seemed, although Tali seems to have started to think that that might be possible. So yeah, okay, that makes sense, that they've stayed in their previous positions. They've held fast. They've not flip-flopped on that. So what about since this attack, though? Has that changed anything?
Any idea where Legion is now?
No. In our last message, it told me that the Geth were having trouble reaching consensus.
And then nothing?
Maybe it was fighting the Reaper takeover, or maybe it didn't want to give intel to an enemy. I could have warned it about the invasion. I didn't.
You'd have been betraying your own people.
I never wanted to be an admiral.
Oof. It's a whole lot of responsibility. Something that she apparently did not want to do, but I mean, if anyone can handle it, I'm sure she can. She is, of course, incredibly smart, incredibly capable. We've seen her do some amazing things with us back in Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2. I mean, we fought off Reapers, we fought off the Collectors. So, surely, if anyone would be up to the task, it would be her.
Talk to you later, Tali.
If you want to catch up in private, call me up to your cabin.
Okay, and I think that is what we'll look to do here, shortly.